Homage to fundamental teacher Buddha Shakyamuni, homage to wisdom warrior Manjushri, homage to all lineage benevolent masters. The Dharma, infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in 1,000,000 eons. Now we are able to hear, study, and follow it. May we fully realize Tathagata's true meaning. In order to liberate all sentient beings from samsara, generate supreme bodhicitta. Today, we will teach the fourth part of the Uncommon Preliminaries, accumulating merit and wisdom. The third part of the Uncommon Preliminaries, which is the practice of the 100-syllable mantra. Some Dharma friends in our academy may not have completed this practice yet. The 100-syllable mantra should be taught more extensively, but due to various reasons some time ago, I taught it rather briefly. I feel that the entire Words of My Perfect Teacher has been taught a bit too quickly from beginning to now. Regarding confession, I should have had more content to elaborate on. But once time has passed, the opportunity is gone. Next time, if I can teach the Words of My Perfect Teacher again, we'll see. Next time when I teach it, it won't be as extensive as this time. It will definitely be more brief generally. When we taught the Words of My Perfect Teacher before, it was for 1 or 2 months. Our academy very much hopes that in the future, the Dharma teachers will frequently teach the Words of My Perfect Teacher in their various classes. The Words of My Perfect Teacher, because we received it before or taught it before, is not sufficient. In one's lifetime, one should receive many transmissions and many teachings of it. In our Bodhi study group, we also very much hope the Words of My Perfect Teacher will serve as a main required course. And this is an extensive commentary, because this time I wanted everyone to understand some of the deeper aspects of the common and uncommon preliminaries. The Words of My Perfect Teacher is actually a teaching from our Tibetan Buddhism. But if we truly study this teaching from Tibetan Buddhism, we'll understand that everything discussed within it, whether stories or scriptural quotations, all have sources in Han Buddhism, Southern Buddhism, and the Tripitaka. Except for a few special Tibetan area stories, all should be found. So this time, I am also quite satisfied. Many contents within have been detailed. I also searched for supporting evidence from other sutras and treatises, making it an extensive commentary on the Words of My Perfect Teacher since the birth of the Words of My Perfect Teacher. Until now, this should be the most extensive commentary. I believe our dedicated volunteers here. Perhaps there's at most one more book remaining, which should not be left incomplete. If this is completed, perhaps we'll leave behind for future generations a work. Whether it has meaning or not, I dare not say. Indeed, sometimes we ordinary people think something is very meaningful, but when we look back later, many things are just conceptual thoughts without much meaning. Sometimes we feel there's no meaning at all, but later on, actually many beings receive certain benefits directly or indirectly, so we cannot determine this ourselves. Regardless, all of us, both myself and the volunteer workers. Everyone has put in certain effort and spent certain time. Finally, like The Way of the Bodhisattva, after completing it as a book for me, personally, this is the greatest achievement of my life. Previously, when we taught The Way of the Bodhisattva, at that time I also wondered whether we could complete it, but later, indeed through the efforts of the volunteer workers and my own efforts, after the joint conditions were fulfilled, we produced 10 books in just 1 or 2 years. For future people, as I mentioned before, if there's no great benefit, at least it should have some reference value. This time with the Words of My Perfect Teacher, it's the same, generally speaking, everyone here. Whether present in person or those who will listen to recordings or read books later must treat the Words of My Perfect Teacher as the main spiritual practice guide of your lifetime. Rely on the Words of My Perfect Teacher to tame your mind stream, eliminate your afflictions, and enhance your wisdom. I think it will certainly bring some transformation to your life. Therefore, we need both theoretical understanding. Although this is the Words of My Perfect Teacher, the text is relatively simple and easy to understand, but the content is extremely profound, even explaining a simple analogy or a simple story, but the meaning it expresses is indeed very profound. In the future, we practitioners here must never treat it as ordinary, just a textbook for beginners, like a first-grade elementary textbook. First-grade elementary textbooks are no longer needed after second grade. Especially when reaching middle school or university, are first-grade textbooks still worth studying? They have no value to study. If we treat the words of my perfect teacher this way, then our approach is wrong. Why do I say this? The great masters of the past, in my memory, my lineage teachers were all like this. Many of your lineage teachers here are the same as ours. They are all our lineage teachers. They spent their entire lives practicing preliminaries and caring about Nyondro, so integrating the Dharma into one's mind stream cannot be accomplished in just 1 or 2 days. It requires long-term effort and long-term diligence. Only then can there be truly effective results. So I think the earlier parts of the words of my perfect teacher, everyone must repeatedly. If this time due to volunteer work or other reasons your study wasn't very solid or serious, then you should set aside time in the future to study repeatedly. Especially now our study is not merely understanding. We should practice each one from the common preliminaries we discussed earlier. Practice one by one. Precious human life, impermanence of life, and so forth. It's best if genuine certainty can arise in your mind stream. When it comes to the uncommon preliminaries, refuge, prostrations, bodhicitta, 100-syllable mantra practice, guru yoga, vajrasattva practice, especially when practicing vajrasattva, I emphasized repeatedly the day before yesterday, in the future we must at least recite the 100-syllable mantra 21 times every morning. I think this won't be difficult at all once you get used to it. It must be done. Our karma is so heavy. If we can't even make this small determination, our Buddhist study truly has no real meaning. I hope that after I finish teaching this time, you should also make this vow in front of me. This should be achievable, right? 21 recitations of the 100-syllable mantra is at most a few minutes. Is that possible? Yes, it's possible. Then raise your hands. 21 recitations of the 100-syllable mantra should be possible. For as long as you live, not just 1 or 2 days, tomorrow morning you will definitely recite it. But if you forget in the morning, you can do it in the afternoon or evening. If you forget today, you must make it up tomorrow. It should be like this, okay? Those who cannot recite, raise your hands. It's okay, just raise them. I just saw 1 or 2 hesitating, then not raising their hands. Just like that, hiding. Some are behind the pillars. This is our preliminary practice. Originally, more than 20 years ago, when I received this teaching, when I saw the merits of the 100-syllable mantra, although the teacher didn't require it then, I made a vow in my heart. After making the vow, I continued. Occasionally I forgot sometimes, but I made it up the same day, or at least by the next day. I've never interrupted this practice. I hope that 20 years from now. If we're still in this world, we should reflect back and see whether you kept the vows you made. If we make too many vows, it becomes somewhat difficult. But reciting the 100-syllable mantra 21 times should be very simple, but its merits and benefits we've already discussed extensively before, so I needn't elaborate here today. We begin teaching the accumulation of merit and wisdom through mandala offerings when actually practiced. Among the 5 preliminaries, this is probably the most time-consuming because the others, like refuge or the 100-syllable mantra, you don't necessarily have to sit down. Even while walking, you can count and recite. But mandala offerings must be offered while sitting quietly in practice. This way, it should be quite tiring, but this is not for simply completing a task. So each of us must practice mandala offerings. This is quite important. Therefore, those who haven't finished should continue with the 100-syllable mantra. If some people practice both the 100-syllable mantra and mandala offerings simultaneously, this way there's no contradiction. Now some people often ask inexplicable questions. Will practice break the lineage? If I didn't practice today, can I practice tomorrow? Many newcomers to Buddhism have so many doubts. Actually, there's no such thing. I prostrated 20 to 30,000 times last year. Continuing this year. Although there was an interruption, it doesn't mean it's like something can't be connected. There's no such situation. Therefore, when we practice if your time and other circumstances permit, practicing Simultaneously is also possible, but it's better to practice separately, because when practicing separately, all the visualizations and liturgies are more complete. If practicing simultaneously, then reciting the 100-syllable mantra one moment, practicing mandala offerings the next. All the various visualizations before and after become quite confused, unless you practice the 100-syllable mantra in the morning and mandala offerings in the afternoon. Practicing different methods at designated times might be better. When we practice mandala offerings, it's best to set aside specific time, including our various classes. We also hope, actually today, we should bring mandala plates to practice together with everyone. But actually, this is quite simple. Everyone knows how the Dharma teachers in our various classes have all practiced before. If convenient for you, I hope that in each class, you should teach everyone specifically. Teaching specifically might be better because each class doesn't have too many people. This way, everyone should be able to see clearly. We begin teaching mandala offerings today. We hope to complete mandala offerings within approximately 3 months. If you really can't finish, complete everything before next year's Dharma assembly of Vidyadhara. This is the requirement. Of course, for the diligent, such a long time is not needed. It should be possible within the designated time. For the lazy, it will never be completed. They won't finish in their lifetime, not to mention this lifetime. Perhaps even with several more lifetimes, they might not complete it, because they have afflictions, many karmic obscurations and many wrong views, including not necessarily attending classes. When I came back just now, there was one of our monastics over there. He was wandering around, also someone who used to live here. So people like this don't even attend classes, let alone truly practice. That's where I go, up, around the turn, where he lives. What's it called? People like this probably won't even practice. It should be like this. So among people, there are various types with different capacities and karmic connections. So I think those here who are quite fortunate and willing to practice, I hope everyone must make effort. Of course, if a very few are extremely busy with volunteer work, there might be some temporary difficulties, but practice later when volunteer work is finished or when you have free time. But regardless, for now, even symbolically, you should set aside some time each day. I feel that no matter which volunteer department, there won't be that much work. Everyone should be able to set aside some time. Below, we need to understand mandala practice, specifically how it is done, its importance. These aspects must all be understood. Fourth, accumulating merit and wisdom. The above is the author's prostration verse to the Guru, which says, though knowing the conventional, still accumulating the two accumulations, though realizing the ultimate with no meditation yet entering samadhi, though manifesting union still diligent, I pay homage at the feet of the incomparable Guru. Here, combined with the qualities of the root Gurus, primarily Jigme Gailwai Nyugu, while praising them, he also instructs us later generations that we should also practice diligently like this. Such teaching, his Gurus, although they had completely realized that conventional reality is like a dream, like an illusion, all false. Yet before reaching a certain stage in this dream-like, illusion-like state, accumulating merit and wisdom cannot be discontinued. So his Gurus, although knowing conventional reality is false, still accumulated the two accumulations within conventional reality, although they had already realized that all phenomena have nothing to be practiced or practiced by, the state free from the three concepts. Yet before us beings in this world, they still manifested continuous meditation, continuous sitting practice, continuous cultivation. Although they had manifested the Vajradhara fruition of appearance emptiness union before beings, they still continued diligent practice. Actually, many of our Gurus are indeed like this. From their realization level, whether ultimate or conventional truth. When manifesting the non-dual fruition, there's no doubt, but before us beings, or although their realization is so high in their conduct, they continuously accept and reject cause and effect and practice virtue. Just as Padmasambhava said, view is like space, accepting and rejecting cause and effect finer than powder. This meaning is exactly the same. The view is quite high, but the conduct still continuously practices according to Dharma. But many of us now are not like this. The view is very low, but the conduct is not in accordance with Dharma at all, either saying there's nothing to practice, nothing to accumulate merit, nothing to be diligent about. Being lazy every day is fine. Besides this, there's nothing. Such an approach is indeed unreasonable. Therefore, before such incomparable gurus possessing these qualities, the author respectfully prostrates with complete reverence. So this verse indeed has a certain inspiring effect on our future life. It should still have a certain motivating effect for us. Why? Because many of us now indeed have extremely inferior views. Not to mention the basic Madhyamaka, Yogacara, or highest Tantra realizations. They've never understood even the Shravakayana's selflessness of persons or emptiness, yet in their words and deeds they often say, "There's nothing to accumulate merit, nothing to practice," and so forth. How much virtue such language can destroy in how many people should be said to be self-evident, very clear. In our world, these people who don't understand Buddhist principles often spread rumors on different occasions. What kind of harm do they bring to individuals or others' true lives? I think many people are very aware of this, so such teachings should be very meaningful for us. Below it says, accumulating merit and wisdom is divided into mandala offerings and kusali practice. First, mandala offerings are explained through 6 aspects. The necessity of mandala offerings, the mandala to be practiced, 37-element mandala offerings, 3-kaya mandala, purity of offerings, the principle of accumulating merit and wisdom, these many divisions. Among these, the first is the necessity of mandala offerings. If the 2 accumulations of merit and wisdom are not perfected, one cannot obtain the fruition endowed with 2 purities. Moreover, before the 2 accumulations are perfected, the unmistaken meaning of emptiness cannot arise in one's mind stream. This point must be clear. If our merit and wisdom are not perfected, then Buddhahood endowed with natural purity and freedom from stains cannot be manifested, as taught in the precious garland of the middle way. Buddha's form body and Dharma body must arise in dependence upon the accumulations of merit and wisdom. If we don't accumulate merit and wisdom now, the fruition indeed cannot be manifested. Actually, among merit and wisdom, merit is indeed particularly important for spiritual practice. Why do many of us now fail in practice and cannot achieve realization? Most are because their merit is insufficient. This kind of merit is not obtained by hitting your head with a stick to immediately become wealthy or immediately give you merit. Some might depend on blessings from great masters, which might be possible. But generally, if beings don't make effort themselves or accumulate, it's very difficult. So if we want to accumulate immediately now, because we didn't create merit in past lives, it's very difficult in this life. But mandala practice is a very convenient method that all Buddhas of the 3 times have taught us. Similar to the mental offering we discussed earlier. This is a visualization, but this visualization can represent real material offerings. Such merit is very important. This point applies not only to us ordinary beings, true emanations of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Many great masters throughout history also made great efforts. For example, in Lama Tsongkhapa's biography, his vast activities of spreading Dharma and benefiting beings have some relationship with accumulating mandala practice. At that time, Lama Tsongkhapa was offering mandalas in the monastery. When offering mandalas, he later rubbed his wrists until first the skin was worn away, finally even the bones were exposed, but he still continued rubbing, changing positions and continuously rubbing. But later, according to some historical records, the mandala plate used by Lama Tsongkhapa was invited by the Naga king to the Naga realm and is now in the Naga palace. Because at that time, Lama Tsongkhapa accumulated merit, the Gelug school he established. Had many monasteries that were very prosperous in terms of wealth, there are such accounts. His vast propagation activities also have some relationship with this. So when we practice, when we engage in austerities, accumulating merit is actually very important. In Han areas too, many monasteries have such practices. For example, if someone wants to ordain, they won't immediately shave their head upon arrival, coming today with scissors in one hand and a plate in the other. Please quickly cut it for me, quickly. It's not that simple. You haven't accumulated any merit, no accumulation, no confession. You were originally a complete worldly person, today immediately becoming a radiant monk or nun. It's impossible. How could there be such a thing? There isn't. You still need to do much manual labor in Han areas, in kitchens, in many places. You still need to confess for a long time. You still need to do many meritorious things for the Sangha, serve the Sangha, volunteer. Actually, this is the only true method for accumulating merit. In Tibetan areas before, there was such a story. There was a monastic who had just relied on a guru. After relying on the guru required him to serve the Sangha, doing printing work, printing books. Every day from morning to night, he continuously printed books for the Sangha. He also distributed these books to many people. He continued this continuously for several decades. Later he thought, although the guru told me to accumulate much merit and serve the Sangha, but I'm so stupid, my wisdom hasn't opened. If I only have merit without wisdom, I'm afraid it won't work. Perhaps the guru's words have some errors. Later, he thought of some method. He didn't dare directly transgress the guru's teachings. One day he thought of a method. If the guru's words are wrong, Manjushri should confirm it for me. How to confirm it? While making this aspiration, because printing before wasn't like our current mimeograph machines or copy machines. Everything was printed with printing blocks. He threw the printing block for books into the air. He thought this would 100% definitely fall down. If it falls down, it means what the guru said is wrong. If it doesn't fall down, then what the guru said is correct. This way, he would have an excuse and also evidence. After that, while making aspirations and saying, if I do merit for the Sangha like this, if what the Guru said is wrong, let it fall down immediately. If it's not wrong, let it remain suspended in the air. While saying this, he threw it into the air. After throwing it into the air for a long time, it didn't fall down. He felt strange. When he looked, Manjushri had already appeared in the air. He caught the printing block and told him, don't generate wrong views toward your Guru. What he said is completely correct. By doing work for the Sangha, gradually you will develop wisdom. Later indeed, naturally, after seeing Manjushri, he was especially like a Sangha in the past, who saw Maitreya after his karmic obscurations were purified. Actually, after his merit for serving the Sangha manifested, he also saw Manjushri. From then on, he would never generate wrong views again. Then he continued making efforts, and as a result truly enhanced his wisdom. So I think many of us should indeed practice mandala offerings. Don't think, oh, everyone else is practicing. If I don't practice, when secret teachings are transmitted later or in front of others, I'll be embarrassed. Such thinking is completely unreasonable, including some individuals in our Bodhi study group who told me, I heard that you mentioned in a letter before that if one can truly complete the 5 preliminaries within the designated time, you would give a Padmasambhava statue. So I've been making efforts. Recently, I'm practicing preliminaries just to get the Padmasambhava statue. Of course, what you want to obtain is a Padmasambhava statue. The object of focus is quite excellent, but if the goal is to practice just to get something, then the effect might not be very good. Actually, you also shouldn't think reciting the 100-syllable mantra might be what Khenpo or someone else said, so I have no choice but to reluctantly do it. Since I already raised my hand today, this is now a pressure. Every morning when I get up, I suffer. This is pressure. Actually, this way might not have much merit. It should be voluntary. If you understand its truly excellent qualities and importance, then you can follow this practice throughout your entire life. So this time with mandala practice, some people can definitely complete it all at once. Some have practiced many times before, but having practiced many times before is fine. It should be both an accumulation of merit and a form of confession. Actually, if we have merit, all other obstacles can be dispelled. In Tibetan areas, we often say, one merit suppresses 100 misfortunes. One merit can suppress 100 calamities. There's such a saying, you've probably heard this too. Previously in Han areas, there was a bhikkhuni called Master Yuanzhao. She was one of the 3 great bhikkhunis in modern Chinese history. She lived to about 90 years old. When she was young, she had a period of relying on Gangkar Rinpoche. During the process of relying on him as a female monastic, she felt it wasn't very convenient to practice retreat in many places. Therefore, she very much wanted to request Vajrakilaya. At that time, she requested Vajrakilaya from Gankar Rinpoche, but the Guru told her, requesting Vajrakilaya is also very good. But most importantly, you should still practice mandala offerings well, because in Tibetan areas we have a saying, one merit suppresses 100 misfortunes. So in your future practice process, all obstacles can be dispelled only after merit increases, and all obstacles can be removed. Because she was practicing as a woman, worrying about having many obstacles in her practice process to protect herself, the Guru thought mandala practice was still very good. Later, because Master Yuanzhao felt that mandala practice was of course good, and perhaps practiced a portion of it, but most importantly, her faith in Vajrakilaya was particularly strong. She kept requesting it from the Guru, and later the Guru reluctantly transmitted it to her. After the transmission, she indeed achieved some extraordinary experiences. According to some books, when she accomplished the practice, she could insert the Vajra Furba into stone. When inserted into water, it wouldn't fall down. She had such power. Later, after leaving the Guru, she still continuously practiced Vajrakilaya. She didn't pay attention to mandala practice. Then she returned to Mount Zhongnan. In the book I introduced the other day, there's also an introduction to Master Yuanzhao. She stayed there for a very, very long time. But later, once during meditation, from the mountain in front, a particularly large boulder rolled down. It was about to crush her to death. It was extremely dangerous. At this time, she felt that obstacles had truly manifested. Later, she inserted the Vajra Furba. The boulder split apart and rolled down on both sides. She dispelled this danger and passed through this crisis. But later she carelessly broke her hand in heavy snow. At this time, finding medicine in the mountains was extremely difficult. Moreover, heavy snow blocked the roads. She nearly approached death and starvation. At this time, her age was also quite advanced, and then she completely understood, so when the Guru said to practice mandala offerings, one must have merit without merit, although Vajrakilaya is also very excellent. But if I had practiced mandala offerings, then all obstacles wouldn't have appeared in the first place. Later, she basically recovered. From then on, she continuously practiced mandala offerings. Only then did she understand the importance of mandala practice and merit. This is also fact and history. So many of us here, in our future life processes, like Atisha in the past, he always carried a mandala plate with him. Sometimes when he broke some precepts, he would immediately sit down and offer mandalas. Sometimes when an unwholesome thought arose, he would immediately confess while accumulating merit. Therefore, many of us now indeed need merit. Without merit, it still won't work. Some people think having merit is bad, including some volunteer workers. Having status is bad, I should just be a good practitioner. Actually, some status and merit Mifam Rinpoche repeatedly emphasizes in The Just King cannot be bought even with gold. They're extremely rare opportunities, indeed they are. I think some volunteer workers here now should see this as an excellent opportunity to benefit beings. Normally, they are just very ordinary people, but through volunteer work, they can benefit countless beings. But if they lack merit, they feel this is pressure. How painful! When can I be replaced? Including some volunteer workers around me, some have persisted for many years. I think this is a matter of merit. Some people feel like they're imprisoned when doing work for benefiting beings and Buddhism. In prison, I was sentenced to 6 years. Now it's been... Days feel like years, every day counting. When will I be released? After release, they disappear from my view. Don't know if they're in heaven or below, or working for the Naga king in the Naga realm. Don't know what they're doing. Indeed, personally, I can work with or without volunteer workers. It doesn't matter to me. Our Dharma propagation is all according to conditions. There can't be any pressure or coercion. Anything is fine if there are resources in all aspects and conditions are complete. Generate greater commitment and do more work. Minus, that's also fine. If these are lacking, doing simple work is also fine. There are no special requirements. But for individuals, much merit is indeed very important. His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok previously told the story of Prince Punyabala. We especially need merit. Without merit, any virtuous deed will not succeed. Indeed, including many Dharma teachers and instructors in our academy, their wisdom should be quite similar to others. But those with merit have long-term opportunities to teach and expound Dharma. Some in retreat are also like this. Everyone comes to this Buddhist academy the same way, but actually those without merit cannot succeed, at the beginning of our Bodhi study group too. Some were still not diligent, but later those with merit continuously persisted, staying and continuously studying. Those without merit were initially extremely diligent and very good. They also felt their wisdom and character were good, but later various obstacles appeared and their minds changed. After their minds changed, when the mind dies, the person dies too. There's no way. So now they can no longer have their original opportunities. They can't find their original true face. It's like this. So I think with Mandala offerings, everyone should know this is accumulating merit. When accumulating merit, we shouldn't think, oh, we practice emptiness. What merit is there? Many people now don't understand any principles. Jigme Gailwai Niyugu, Venerable Longchenpa. Their realization is much higher than previous great masters. They would never speak such big words. Some of us now have only heard the term emptiness. Like we discussed in yesterday's logic, the terms are the same, but actually they themselves have never touched even a bit of it. Why are you laughing? Did I say something wrong? People who don't truly understand emptiness often use emptiness to speak big words. I don't think it's very reasonable. To seek enlightenment, cultivate excellent causes. This should be taught in the Moon Lamp Sutra. To seek enlightenment, cultivate excellent causes. Accumulate merit and wisdom. Excellent causes. Then what should we accumulate? Accumulate merit and wisdom. Both of these accumulations are very necessary. If we don't want to seek enlightenment, that's another matter. If we want to seek enlightenment, merit and wisdom cannot be lacking. If they're lacking, we cannot obtain it. Many here should also aspire for enlightenment. Most people aspire for enlightenment. Other individuals might have different purposes too. We won't tell them some true pith instructions, as taught in the sutras. Until the excellent two accumulations are perfected, one cannot realize supreme emptiness. This is exactly the same as what I just explained. If the excellent two accumulations are not perfected, if merit and wisdom are not perfected, before this, realizing emptiness is impossible. Some people are extremely anxious. Can you immediately transmit Dzogchen to me? Immediately. Can you teach me the highest realization? I really don't have time. I don't have time to practice preliminaries. Can you do it fastest? Even transmitting it to you 100 times might not work. It has been transmitted before actually to some people, but without accumulating merit and purifying karmic obscurations, it's impossible to manifest. It has certain causes and conditions. So, without perfected accumulations, realizing emptiness is impossible. Furthermore, know that supreme co-emergent wisdom arises only through the power of accumulating merit and purifying obscurations, and through blessings from qualified teachers. Relying on other methods is truly foolish. This scriptural quotation has been used frequently before. We should understanding the true meaning of ultimate emptiness, or understanding ultimate wisdom, cannot come without causes and conditions. So, what are its causes and conditions? The first is accumulating merit and purifying karmic obscurations. To realize emptiness, you must accumulate merit. Accumulating merit through mandala practice and so forth, purifying obscurations through vajrasattva practice and so on. This is the first condition, or two conditions. Another condition is relying on blessings from a guru who has realization. Guru's blessings and accumulating merit while purifying obscurations. This is the best method if one abandons these two methods and seeks other paths. This is completely foolish behavior, so this scriptural quotation is particularly important. If our practice is good, receiving just one or two scriptural quotations should be sufficient. Many great masters of the Zen school are also like this. Among our Dzogchen lineage masters, there are also some people, when they truly have special connection and the timing is right, with just a brief teaching they completely understand. Indeed, my future life direction still cannot abandon accumulating merit, cannot abandon purifying obscurations, praying to the Guru. Especially I saw in a teaching some time ago, it said, if you regularly pray to the Guru, your mind becomes more and more nourished, your mind becomes more and more gentle, more and more tamed, more and more capable. We usually have this feeling ourselves. Just on the theoretical level, it's like worldly teachers' way of teaching. Worldly teachers just analyze the theoretical explanations for you completely after finishing. See you later, students. Class is over and they leave. After leaving, the students are also scattered. Besides this, between teacher and students, what kind of heart-to-heart transmission is there? Almost none. Many theoretical teachers in the world just explain theories to you. You can understand this theoretically. But true transmission of wisdom from the heart only exists in Buddhism, the so-called mind transmission blessing, the so-called hearing lineage of ordinary beings. What kind of gratitude an ordinary being has toward their lineage guru? Everyone should know what kind of faith many gurus have toward their lineage gurus. This way, I think we need Guru's blessings. We need to accumulate merit and purify obscurations. Only this way can we truly realize emptiness. Many of us still want to attain liberation, want to realize emptiness. But realizing emptiness isn't so easy. It has its own causes and conditions. Whoever has skillful wisdom regarding such causes and conditions has opportunity, even if one has directly realized emptiness. However, before attaining perfect enlightenment, one must still progressively enhance the path practice. Before attaining Buddhahood, finding rest in the nature of the mind also teaches. Before attaining Buddhahood or truly attaining Bodhisattva level still isn't enough. Bodhisattvas still need to accumulate merit. So before attaining Buddhahood, practice needs continuous progress. Some of us aren't like this. After ordaining, they no longer need to practice or study. Some people after becoming Dharma teachers also don't need to practice or study anymore. The other day someone said something, I think he said correctly. I said, why haven't you become a Dharma teacher yet? He said, not being a Dharma teacher is also good. Otherwise, might I have pride? I worry that if I became a Dharma teacher, I would have pride. I think this statement is also correct. Sometimes people's mindset is hard to predict. For example, worldly people now originally love studying very much. But later, when they truly get into university or become civil servants, they never study again. Then their learning completely stops. In such situations, we still need to accumulate merit. Our current study and practice throughout our entire lifetime, we should continuously make effort. So we still need to diligently accumulate merit and wisdom. These two accumulations. The great yogi Tilopa also taught this way. My disciple Naropa, while this dependent origination appears, before realizing the meaning of non-arising, don't abandon accumulating the two accumulations. Disciple, you should listen carefully. At that time, gurus actually gave simple pith instructions. And disciples, because their faculties and faith were good. This way, receiving simple pith instructions, finally some achieved enlightenment, some benefited throughout their lives. He said, the dependent origination that now appears actually must have certain causes and conditions. Before realizing emptiness, before realizing the meaning of non-arising through this dependent origination, never abandon accumulating the two accumulations. Many people now have completely abandoned the two accumulations before realizing. Some people even say themselves, no need to practice mandala offerings, no need to recite 100-syllable mantras, no need to practice preliminaries, just pay me 600 yen and that's it. Okay, everything's accomplished. Now, even cabbage is getting more expensive. Now it probably must be 666. Really, such statements are very bad. To be honest, I'm not targeting anyone specifically, but there are some hearsay accounts. If there really are such cases, this is unreasonable. Perhaps this is a way of accumulating merit, not practicing mandala offerings, but directly substituting with money. This approach won't work. Before realizing emptiness, this dependent origination appearance is indestructible. How is dependent origination appearance indestructible? We must accumulate merit and purify obscurations. This is the pith instruction we should always remember. There's also the Yogi Virupa, among India's 80 great accomplishers. There's one called Virupa. He once said this in his Vajra songs. Though possessing great confidence in not seeking worldly Buddhahood, one should still make every effort to diligently accumulate merit continuously, though already possessing what? No need to seek worldly Buddhahood. Worldly Buddhahood has completely manifested, already attained such realization. But still need to continuously make effort. Do we have such confidence? Everyone, let's not even mention Buddhahood. We don't even have confidence in first-level Bodhisattva or small path of accumulation. But now we start cutting off accumulations. This is a particularly frightening thing. Though arising, it's not permanent. All karmic actions are not lost. How does the Treatise on the Great Perfection of Wisdom explain this? All phenomena, though empty, will not cease. Though they continuously arise, they're also not permanent. Neither permanent nor ceasing. This is the law and principle of the infallibility of cause and effect. Therefore, in conventional appearances, indeed, good deeds have good results, evil deeds have evil results, and this karmic law's appearance, generally speaking, before attaining Buddhahood, it continuously remains indestructible. Therefore, in many bodhisattvas' biographies, they also, for example, when at the third bodhisattva level, they would cross fire pits, making vigorous efforts to seek the true Dharma. There are many moving stories we should understand. First, we should know what our own realization level is. Therefore, never definitively declare that we don't need to accumulate merit, don't need confession. For many people, this is indeed quite a significant obstacle. The peerless Dagpo Rinpoche also said this directly, though accumulating merit and purifying obscurations are also primordially pure. But one must start accumulating from meager merit. From the essential nature of accumulating merit and purifying obscurations, of course, it's pure, primordially pure. But before we reach such realization, conventionally speaking, we must accumulate merit. We should start with insignificant, meager merit, even if it's just one day. For example, we offer one flower, light one stick of incense, or offer one lamp. These are also ways of accumulating merit. If you don't have much time, many people in Tibetan areas often have this practice. For example, when you arrive at a particularly auspicious place, immediately perform a simple tsok offering, offer mandala. Many practitioners are like this. I know someone who is also a Dharma friend. From our monastery area, I've known him for 30 years. I knew him even before I ordained. He often carries a mandala plate, no matter which sacred place he visits, which monastery he goes to. He sits down and starts offering mandala, then performs a simple tsok offering himself. He's made this a habit. Many years ago it was like this, and now it's still like this. Once we went to a treasure cave of the great Tertun Dorje Dechen Lingpa. He also told me some stories about where he went and how many mandalas he offered true practitioners. Wherever they go, they always do this practice as their main activity, but some of our practitioners view these practices completely as if they were meetings or temporary activities. Regarding reciting the 100-syllable mantra, many people probably think, I recite some 100-syllable mantras when practicing preliminaries. After that, I never recite them, regarding contemplating the precious human life. These few days they require me to contemplate, so I'll contemplate a bit regarding prostrations. Oh, these few days they require prostrations. I'll do 3 prostrations. Then it's finished. If after completing preliminaries there's no practice behavior, that's not a practitioner's conduct until Buddhahood throughout one's lifetime. Through lifetimes after lifetimes, everyone should practice accumulating merit and purifying obscurations. So the Buddha, with great compassion and skillful means, taught inconceivable, convenient methods for accumulating merit. Among these, the most important, holding the first position, is mandala offerings. The Tantras also teach this way. If in all Buddha fields, the entire 3,000-fold world, with wonderful adorning merits, one offers to perfect Buddha's wisdom. Our world has countless Buddha fields, the 3,000-fold universe. The entire 3,000-fold universe, all adorned with various wonderful desires and merits, all offered to Buddha's wisdom. When we teach mandala practice below, we'll discuss the 5 Buddhas, visualizing the 5 Tathagatas and offering this way all wealth of our entire 3,000-fold universe, all offered to the Tathagata. We can also say it this way, or we can say, in order to manifest the wisdom of all Buddha Tathagatas, we offer mandalas to accumulate merit. We can also explain it this way. When offering mandalas, according to our school's tradition, it includes both the mandala for practice and the mandala for offering, if one's various conditions and circumstances are complete, according to the Dzogchen Nyingtik tradition. Actually, the Gelug school also especially emphasizes this. The Sakya school also especially emphasizes this. Other schools are also like this in Han areas, although they don't explicitly mention mandala offerings, but many mandalas actually mean mandala circles. So mandala circles actually mean Buddha altars, including offering fruits and flowers before Buddha statues. These are all mandala circles for offering. When we discuss mandala circles, there's specifically this meaning too. So just because individual schools don't mention it, we can't consider this unreasonable, just like any worldly product that's useful. But in other places, for example, some random item might not be emphasized in other factories, but actually it truly has its function. Now some people, because their own school doesn't mention this, oh, is it unreasonable? I've never heard of it. This is a matter of limited knowledge. Any useful thing in the world, any valuable thing. Not necessarily all schools, all people in the world will know about it. So, when we should practice, don't create many unnecessary excuses for ourselves that would obstruct our own merit accumulation. Regarding the material of mandalas, according to one's economic conditions, the superior use gold, silver, and other precious materials to make mandalas. The middle level use bronze and other materials to make mandalas. The lower level use stone slabs, wooden boards, and other relatively smooth platforms, as mandalas is also acceptable. Any of these should be acceptable according to one's situation. If conditions in all aspects are complete, gold can be used, silver can be used. The other day, those made as prizes for our Bodhi study group aren't real silver, but their made should be especially convenient to carry around. I specifically designed and made some at that time. However, when using them, I heard some people say that during continuous rubbing, the outer surface loses color. I don't know what this color is. Eventually, hands also become black, but from the perspective of elegance and appearance, it should be very good. Most people should have received them. Did I give them, or did someone else volunteer? What was the intention at that time distributed? How were they distributed? What was said when distributing? I think I gave them, or someone offered them to me. I forgot anyway, but it doesn't matter. This isn't important. Many of you should definitely have them. There are 2 mandalas. One is the mandala for practice. After offering it's completed, it's always kept in the shrine room, visualizing the 5 Buddhas. When we make offerings or visualize it as the refuge field, is it here? Is there one? What we usually use, if it's too big, sometimes it's difficult to use. Of course, if one's economic conditions and other aspects are good, gold can be used. Silver can be used, if there's really no gold available. Previously in Tibetan areas, when conditions were quite poor, they had no way to buy mandala plates, so they took some stone blocks and used smooth stones to make mandalas. Looking at the histories of many great masters, in some biographies, there are also stone slabs used as mandala plates. All should be acceptable. Regardless, anything is fine. According to one's situation, anything is acceptable. The offering substances placed, superior ones use turquoise, coral, lapis lazuli, pearls, and so forth. Very fine rare treasures, all kinds of jewels can be used, I once saw in Taiwan. Many lay practitioners in Taiwan still pay great attention to mandala offerings. At that time, some lay practitioners indeed used real coral, real amber, made into quite fine pieces, then continuously offered. After seeing this, their merit must be very great. In this life, many are big bosses. In the future, they'll have even more merit. Don't know how they'll handle their wealth. I'm just worried about how they'll handle their wealth in the next life, right? Many people think this sounds wonderful. Medium level use Tibetan barley, olive seeds, and so forth. Rice, northeast rice. All these are fine. Wash them a bit every couple of days. When we offered before, we always had 2 sets. Wash on this side, dry them in the sun, while the other set continues offering after offering for a period. Then wash this set again. Take the previously dried set to offer. Generally speaking, offering with grains might be better. Some of us now, whether our so-called precious stones are actually precious is unknown. Various colored stones. However, these can still be considered precious stones. Some are very expensive. Regardless, some inside might be too large. The mandala plate is small, but those are too big. Cha. It's a bit. Perhaps it's not easy to offer. There are such situations too. Making them a bit finer is also acceptable. Should use medicinal substances. Actually, there's some fragrance inside. It must be clean and tidy. This is very important. Lower level use. Earlier it was Tibetan barley, which is different from barley, right? Medium level is Tibetan barley. Lower level uses barley, rice, wheat, legumes, and other grains. Tibetan barley and barley are different, right? Below might be Han barley, rice, legumes, and other grains. The lowest level uses, because they really don't have grains and such things, so when they don't have them, using some crushed stones, rubble, fine sand is also acceptable when there's really no other choice. Previously, some great masters had no money or anything for mandala offerings, so they used fine sand, washed it completely clean, then began offering mandalas. There are such cases too, but now probably no one needs this. At least using grains should be no problem, or adding some precious stones and pearls to the grains. Previously, many old practitioners, for example, had several coral beads, several crystal beads. They would place them in the grains, place them among the offerings as offerings. Such situations also exist and are completely acceptable. Regardless, one must carefully wipe the base plate of the mandala. It seems time is up. Let's stop here for today.
Bandara